Are y'all ready?
Yeah, what's the format?
Okay, here's what we have 85 photos for 29 people. And the charge was go find 3 of your top photos from 2020, share them, and then we'll share them as a group. We'll talk about them informally. So before, what I'm going to do is show all of the 85 photos in a slideshow that takes 3 minutes. And that way we'll all get to see everything. And some of it is Adobe just does what it does with putting the photos in whatever order they're in. So they'll be kind of scattered around. Sometimes photos will be by the same person and then it'll jump around, but it's a cool little slideshow. And after we've seen them all, then we'll go back and I'll pull up each one of you, the 3 that you sent or the 2 or the 1 that you sent. And you'll have something like, I calculate, 45 seconds, less than a minute, to just kind of give us a little background and why you picked those. And anything.
45 seconds each or 45 seconds for all 3?
No, you each get almost an entire minute. I think actually you could have a minute, but I've know this group that if I say you have a minute, it stretches into 5. So, so before we do this slideshow, I'm interested in your all's comments about that exercise of going through your 2020 photos.
I didn't take very many photos. They were mostly of my cat, so I didn't enter any. And she's adorable, but.
So there was that.
I don't know why.
Couldn't get a model release. Okay, is that why?
Pandemic.
I thought it was an interesting assignment. It said images that most pleased you, not necessarily your strongest images or your best images, but it was sort of subjective. And I like that.
For me, it gave kind of perspective on the year and how unbelievably long this year was, because you'll see one of the photos that I chose was from the morning after the East Nashville tornado, because I had to go up there because I own a rental. I'll talk about it when you see it. But when I saw it, I said, wait, that was 2019.
It seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah. I realized, no, that was just this last March.
I know, but it seems so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
I always pick out my 13 favorites for the year. And so, I had already picked them out before the assignment came. And what struck me about it was I'm really excited about seeing the 3 that a bunch of the rest of you have picked. I think that'll be really fun.
So Susan, how long have you been doing that? Going back through
4 or 5 years. John Paul Caponegro in one of his posts at one point said that he did it every year and recommended it, and to also to pick the one that's your favorite.
What do you do with them?
I think that's a great idea. I'm going to have to try to do that.
My question is, what do you do with either the 1 or the 13?
Oh, sometimes I make a calendar. Sometimes I, send them to friends. Sometimes I submit them to exhibits at Snap to see if anybody else likes them or if they fit with the theme. Various things. Sometimes I make cards, note cards out of them.
I've done calendars for the last 5 years, 5 or 6, something like that, and give as gifts in that sense.
Wow.
I read an article that suggested you print them as a book, and I'm doing that. I'm waiting for Blurb to have a sale.
So then you have a yearly book.
Well, starting this year.
So, okay. So you will have a yearly book.
That's
Tamara, I read that.
I like the idea of just doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like that idea.
Maybe this should always be our January theme, and so we know that it's coming up. Just start picking out your favorite 13 in December, and we'll all be prepared.
That's a great idea. Then we don't have to plan a January meeting, different.
And we've got January for 2022.
Yeah.
You know, I read that Campanegro's thoughts on this too, and he and some other people talk about if you go through this a number of years, you can go back and see your progress or how your aesthetics have changed or what you used to do compared to now. It's sort of it's a so I'm intrigued to see. I've only done it this 1 year and I couldn't, yeah, it was good. Tamara, I took that article that you sent and I have actually ordered a book and it has more than 12 photos in it.
Oh, you already ordered your book. I've got mine ready to go. I just
Shutterfly had a
finished it
sale and I thought, heck, I'm not doing more research. I'm just getting this thing done. So
Blurb always has a sale like every other week. So
yeah.
I'm waiting.
So we found it kind of a good way. And I think that some of these observations y'all have said, like Stacy, perspective on the year. I mean, when I saw these things coming in too, it was like some people I thought, well, you could not have done that this year because it feels like we have just been in lockdown caves for months. And it turns out, yeah, all this happened in 2020. It's very fascinating. So let me try to share.
Can I say one other thing?
Yes.
One of the things that happened for me was because I was staying home, I actually shot more. I set up a little studio on my dining room table and shot more. But with abstract, you can do that.
Well, I
I
was
just
listening.
wasn't very productive, I'm afraid.
There was a wonderful video. I'll try to send out the link. I'll send you the link, Joe, that you can share with people. A street photographer realizing that the things that caught him when he was out and about that he couldn't do. He lives in Los Angeles, all these lockdowns in California and everything, but he was looking at light and shadow. Well, that happens at home. Shapes and lines, that happens at home. Moments, these things. And so the photos he shares in this are just so inspiring. I'll get you that link, Joe, to put in the notes to give to Carl. Now, with any further ado, I'm going to share my screen and show you all this.
You want us to go on mute?
Oh, that's probably a smart idea for now. Yeah.
Got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
It's
Lower
down at
left
the
corner.
bottom generally.
Let's see if this works. Are you all seeing
Yes.
the beginning of, it looks like a grid with a bunch of pictures on it? Are y'all
Yes.
seeing that? Okay.
Yes, we can see that.
All right, I'm going to press play. And we don't have music. So we go. Maybe Denny could get us some, or Michael Ross, y'all could.
And it's stuck. There we go.
Wait, but there's not going to be a narrative of this? It's just going to be like a...
We're just going to spend 3 minutes to see everybody. So then we're going to go back and have time for people to talk about their own photos.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Ah, that's it. Slideshow finished,
Good one to finish on.
wasn't it? Wow. So what y'all think?
I didn't see Bernie.
You didn't know? Yeah. I mean, look at all that creativity. And I'm eager to hear more of the background things. So what I'm going to do is pull up Lightroom where I can get and sort them by the file name. There we go. And we'll just start alphabetically. Just a minute, I've about got this set up. Now, all right. Where did Zoom go? Now I've got my thing set up. Hang on. Share screen, Lightroom. All right, y'all can see this. All right, so I'm gonna take Al. I know you're here. Oops. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So tell us a little bit about these photos, Al. They were the ones that most pleased you. Is that what you were saying?
Sure. Well, Well, I don't know what to say. The woman with the megaphone, every year I do quite a bit of sort of social justice documentary work, and it was not easy this year with masks, fogging glasses, and trying to be socially distanced and various other things, but so much was going on. This was a photo from a racial justice rally. I don't know if y'all can see her shirt very well. Can you make that full screen? Each individual?
No, give that, no, I could, but then,
All right, anyway, I could say that all that really cool stuff happening on her shirt and her hands and the hand on the print on the shirt. I could say I saw all that when I shot it, but
You-
actually I discovered it.
It's a
editing.
great, it's a great image.
It'd have been a strong image anyway, but I mean, she's touching the hand of that superhero on her shirt. I like the image. The second image is just a little, cabin, 2/3 or half completed cabin that Jane and I have in Kentucky. It's sort of a retreat, and I'd like that photo of it. And the third picture is I got to sort of do a trip of a lifetime back last winter. My friend Jane and her daughter arranged for me to go with them to Pakistan. And
Wow.
that is a rooftop restaurant in Lahore, Pakistan.
wow.
And I think it's a pretty strong image, but I had to say it. It was an image that pleased me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trip of a lifetime for me. That's all I got.
Well, that's good. That's good. That gives us a good sense of what these photos are. And now we've got Bill Lindsley.
So as you may recall, almost all of my photography is done when I travel. And I realized I squeezed in 2 trips in 2020, one to Sweden and one to New York City. The first 2 are from Sweden. First one is Copenhagen right at dusk. And the other was taken up in the Swedish Alps with the young Lap boy, or Sammy is what they go by now, up there in the snow. With his Sammy colors and uniform. And then the last picture was in New York City, and I just took an opportunity to walk around and do some street photography, and I just like the steam coming up and this kind of feeling that it created around this vendor and this man walking on the left. So that's all I had to pick from.
No.
New York and Sweden. There was,
After traveling, you really do limit it to traveling, Bill? That's
yeah, pretty much. And then I do my processing and whatever in between. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bill Scott is not on. Is that correct? Bill, speak up if you're here. I didn't see you on the list. But we will all take a moment to enjoy Bill Scott's beautiful photos.
Bizarre,
Yeah. I think he's like you in that a lot of his photos are traveling photos. And then we have, actually, I was going to ask this question. Going through the photos, there were some I bet we could all say, oh, well, that was so-and-so. This one we go, that's David Morrell. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I like shrimp boats. Is that why you're
That's
saying
it,
that?
it's the shrimp
That's
boat.
it.
Every way.
If that's what you're calling them now, yes.
Hey, the plague mask, the plague doctor mask, that's very appropriate for now, I would believe.
Yeah, I started that series in March or April, I think it was, and I have probably about 25 or 30 different subjects in that. So that was a lot of fun. And then the one on the left was shot. One of the models there, a friend of mine, wanted to do a blood shoot, but we wanted to do it a little different, and so it was kind of a collaboration among the 3 of us, 2 models and myself. And I was pleased with how that turned out, and also kind of had statement on the year, I guess. And then the last one I shot down in Venice, Louisiana in December. And we now have a place here. So we come and stay, and it's actually a photo that got printed about 3 feet by 3 feet to hang over our couch in our condo. So
Nice.
thanks.
Very nice. So the middle one is, you said it's the plague?
It's the plague doctor mask. You've seen,
Yeah, yeah.
the year before, my wife and I were in England, and we went to the plague museum at this one small town. And that's the first thing I thought of when all this stuff broke.
Very
David, what percentage of your model work is you using models, and what percentage is models using you?
Most cases it's collaborations, so it's joint, and it's, they have an idea, I have an idea, or they want something that I don't care much about, but I'm like, hey, but can we shoot this also? That kind of thing. I'm not sure if that answers your
Yes.
question.
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, thank you, David.
Sure.
And so now, David Panieros. Tell us about these, David.
Okay, these were on May 30 in Nashville. These were during the riot that occurred in downtown Nashville. The first two photographs are in front of the police department. And that was the first time police in riot gear came out. And then people moved towards the courthouse, which is the last picture. And yeah, so it's a series on that day, pretty much.
And you've had these published in Vanity Fair, or maybe not these, but you've had some from those.
Yeah, I had several series published, but not from this riot, but from the 62 days occupation of the plaza in front of the Capitol. I did a series on that occupation, and some of those got published on different media.
When we could see these full screen, and I'm sorry that I'm not capable of really maybe doing that for everybody, but the one in the middle where you could see the policeman's eyes was really powerful.
They all have a lot of detail. I don't really know if these are my favorite shots of the year, but I just wanted to bring to this meeting like a series.
Yep.
So I just selected a series of 3, and I think this one works because they have the police logo on the 3 images. So I like that.
Dave, could you say something about how you shoot these? These are damn good black and white images.
Like what do you want to know?
I see you out shooting. You and I have been on a lot of the same things. You work with a Leica?
Okay, so I'm shooting with a Fujifilm.
Okay.
X100.
Are you shooting in black and white?
I shoot. So the camera has a. I don't have the camera around me, but the camera has a viewfinder. So it's an optical viewfinder. So it's just in color because it's an optical viewfinder. So it's in color, and I shoot RAW, so it's in color. And so maybe to finish answering your question, the way I photograph these has like 2 main parts. First one is being out there and getting really close to the subject. And I like to say that I have, like Bruce Gilden, no morale, because I get into people's private space and I invade and take the photograph. That's why they look maybe. I'm able to achieve these kind of perspectives. And the second part is on Lightroom, where I develop the photographs. I turn them into black and white, and I push the files a lot. Like, again, I'm shooting raw, so I'm able to push these files to their limits before they break, and that's why black and white pops out and looks very strong.
Question. Do the police or anybody ever say anything to you? Because you're so close, especially number one, you're right behind him. Do they ever say
I'm
something?
sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Do the police or do they ever say anything to you because you're so close and it's in the middle of obviously something that's serious? Do they ever say anything to you, like get out of the way?
Yeah, it happens all the time. Especially when there's a riot. It doesn't matter if you're a photographer, and especially during this Trump era, the police lost a lot of respect for the media, for journalists. So they felt a lot of freedom to either attack you or even arrest you. I was arrested in Nashville for making photographs.
Oh, this sounds like a great another story. Okay, don't want to cut that off, but that is fascinating. All right. Good questions, good photos. Let's see who is next. We have Denny. No, is that no,
It's not me.
Durwood.
Yeah.
Durwood. Look at this. All right, tell us, Durwood, what were you're here, right?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm a fan of some fallen leaves. Especially find ones that have certain amount of grace or beauty to them. This is a little ginkgo leaf, like a ray fish. It's just lying in a parking lot. And the one in the middle, most of the photos I've taken this year have been with a small group that I work with, and we challenge each other. And someone said mailboxes, and that's my mailbox. And I just enjoyed all the tension of the diagonal lines and that one. And the other one was an architectural photo of St. Mary's downtown. A good angle, lots of good perspective there. Yeah, and the sky was totally empty and white and blown out. So Photoshop has a wonderful sky replacement feature now, and I put that sky in because it was just a white sky to begin with.
Well, we're hearing from some folks about why they picked their particular three. These are all strong photos. Why these three, Durwood?
I just like them.
There you go.
I really like to photograph leaves, and the other two I just enjoyed processing them.
Uh-huh.
Or would you ever get arrested for photographing leaves?
I get strange looks.
We have not. Is that asphalt really purple, or did you?
No, I think if I recall correctly, I just boosted saturation in that.
And that's what showed up. That's very interesting.
Hey, David, it
Strong.
depends on what the leaves are covering.
Yeah, that's true. But that's my area.
Oh.
There's your next shoot, David. Ginkgo leaves, and
They're too big.
Go further.
All right. So now we have Denny's three. Look at these. Tell us about these, Denny. Why you picked them and a little bit of background.
Well, as I said earlier, this is not too typical of what I generally shoot. And I did shoot a lot this summer. And a lot of them were kind of protest shots. They were, anyway. And I thought or at least I needed some calmness. These three are kind of somewhat personal to me.
before my job ended, my view from the window building out at Opryland, I could watch this building on the left being constructed. Watching it go all the way up. Also in the spring, there was a show of the revisited Untitled photo or art group called Retitled that was downtown, which we did have an opening and then everything shut down. This is a shot through my sunroof of my car, actually, of that building. Kind of represents kind of the end of a couple of things because many of us lost our jobs thanks to COVID. The one in the middle is the 4th of July fireworks show that didn't say just the combination of the cloud and the dust and the warmth and the historic looking building. I liked it. And the third one is what was it called? The Convergence. It got too cloudy to photograph the 2-3 stars or planets technically going together. But I really love this shot of the leafless trees on the skyline and the clouds, and it
Silhouette, it's nice.
that's the word. Anyway, they all seem a little more calming than everything else I've been shooting, so I thought I'd choose those. I do have others that'll really annoy you too, so.
So these have personal meetings and they're calming, which we all need. And honestly, look at the three of them together. They almost make a series, as different as they are. The colors and the shapes and the lines.
Been doing this a long time.
Yeah, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Diane. Diane Ware, welcome.
So I'm a street photographer, and I actually do most of my work also traveling. And I actually traveled quite extensively in January. I think this has been an opportunity in some regards for me to focus on taking pictures at home. So my project is Nashville Playing, and I've been working on it and plan to work on it for a good long while. And this represents three kinds of things that I'm taking pictures of. The first one is there's always something special going on Broadway, as small as it is, on Saturday afternoon. And this fellow just travels in. Apparently, he kind of goes around the United States scaring people. And so that's the first one. The second one is really a wonderful fellow. I haven't seen him for about 4 to 6 weeks. He is not a street performer in the sense that he's not looking for money, but he likes to do flips on buildings and he likes to interact with people. And that's part of what I'm looking for also, is the interaction of people. And then the third, of course, are brides. I've seen 2 guys wearing veils, and this is one of them.
Cool. So this is, I know you do street photography, and so the theme here of the playfulness.
Nashville Playing, yes.
Yeah.
Kind of, it also is trying to get the interaction of people and musicians, but I can't go into bars or anything like that. But it's really larger than that. It is how people play in our music city on Broadway specifically, or in that area.
Well, they each 3 brought smiles to the viewer, speaking personally. Yeah.
I love the
Thank you.
veil.
That's cute, isn't it?
Yeah,
He was a
great,
cute guy.
great.
There was a special ops guy on the left there, so.
Yeah. Ghillie suit.
Yeah.
I knew Carl would appreciate that.
All right. Okay, these are my 3. And I'm I selected these because toward the end of the year, I managed to figure out how to use an old vintage lens that I owned from my Minolta film camera. I managed to figure out how to use it on my Fujifilm digital camera. And I'm really liking this kind of a look, sort of a vintage look,
Kind of
sort
a
of
hope.
dreaminess, and these now the first one is actually a digital with my regular lens, but using a filter. It's called the toy camera filter.
Yep, looks like it.
And the second one is also the regular lens. But when I started seeing things like this last one here, how the Minolta lens was working, I did a little post-processing on that middle one for it to have the same feel. It was already close to it, but sort of emphasizing the dreaminess of this. So this is my experimentation this year, going this route.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice work, Emily.
Oh, thank you. Emily Helms, are you with us tonight?
I am.
Oh, good. Tell us about your photos.
Well, I had a really hard time choosing my photos, and I post a lot of them on Facebook. So I had like 15 or 18 or something, and put them out to Facebook and asked the people that kind of follow me which ones they liked. And these came back as their thoughts. And I liked them. I like them a lot, but they have to choose them for me.
Emily, that is a dangerous path to go on.
Well, I didn't have to follow it. I could have chosen.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. The first one, of course, is Reelfoot Lake, and I like the lonely tree and the lonely fisherman. It was kind of a theme of the year.
Yeah.
One to the right, of course, is downtown Nashville at the very beginning of the lockdown and pandemic. And the middle one, I seem to find a lot of sunflowers this year, which I thoroughly enjoy photographing. And even during the beginning of COVID, I posted a sunflower a day. Have some cheerful photos on Facebook. So that's kind of
The middle one's like the mom and the son or daughter.
yeah, it's like I want to grow up, be big, be, you know, watching over the younger one.
And then the squirrels eat it.
Before the squirrel eats it, no, come on, Denny.
That's what always happens to mine.
Well, there are some of you like Emily here and some others in the group who are posting like crazy. And so that means you're out shooting like crazy. And so when you go back and look at the output for the year, it must have been a different experience. I don't know, maybe you already do this, go back and pull out your favorites.
I've tried to a few times. It's just hard, you know, when you go. And I like doing some people in portrait photography too, but that's not my real forte. But
and I will note that I like the mix here of having some in the black and white and some color, one color.
yeah, looking at this, when you've got there with the big pop of color in the middle, it's kind of like one extreme to the other.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Jerry Park, are you here?
I don't think he is.
Well, let's just enjoy his photos for a moment. You know, I wonder, when he last talked to the group, he was in the midst of going all over the country, getting photos from all 50 states. So I'm wondering where these are.
The one on the left reminds me of like the Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the one on the right could be that also, only, I don't know, could be the Palouse in Washington and Oregon.
And the one in the middle, I heard people chuckling when that one came up.
Yeah.
That could be anywhere in America.
And it truly could.
Or in the world. I mean, just because it's English. Poor mom did try.
It's a Wayland fan or something.
Yeah. They're nice.
All right. Joe.
I'm going to take the middle one first because it kind of came as a result of a workshop before the pandemic. So it's kind of, in chronological order. But I'd had a picture of a fox in my backyard from a while back, and then these doors and looking out. And I went to a workshop to learn how to make composites. And I just really liked how that one turned out. And I didn't really work on it until after the workshop, but it was taking and applying what I'd learned. And so I felt like that was really fun. I got out, I live right near Warner Park. And so that was my, and I'm still working. So I was kind of, virtual all the time from home. And so kind of getting out at Warner Park was my way of kind of reconnecting. And the blackberry blossoms there, I found that branch kind of hidden away under a bush somewhere. And it kind of evolved into, it's not a good series, but it's a series. I kept walking that same path and trying to find new things each week. And also going back to this same branch and seeing how it had grown and changed. And so I have a series that takes it from the blossoms there through the first green berries to ripe berries to just a bare branch after all the leaves had fallen off and everything. So that was a fun process to learn. And then the last one is one that I was in driving a different road in Warner Park and saw this grouping of trees. And I just was so fascinated with the kind of variation in stages of life and all that kind of stuff. And the first time I went there, I didn't like what I got. So this was kind of this is the second try. And so just kind of, it was important to me to go back and try again. And the trees were wet the first time. So they, just turned out really dark and didn't have much detail. Anyway, so those are mine.
Oh, wow. So honestly, what you just described was a process where these represent a bunch of other series and works and things you've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Love the blackberry things. I don't love all of them, but the blackberries are great.
Thank you.
Agreed.
I feel like we could spend a bunch of time on each of these series, and I sort of feel bad about zipping through this, but I want to make sure we get to everybody, and then we can have a little bit of time to come back and talk some more. Here we have Kimberly Manson. I think I saw you're here, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. Well, tell us about these photos, Kimberly.
I didn't really know what three to pick because I do a lot of different types of work. I do some street photography, a lot of photojournalism, and just lights and shadows and things that I see. So I ended up with these. The first one is at the beginning of the pandemic. Of course, there was no one there. Everything was shut down at Printer's Alley. So I took that opportunity to get the calmness of that location that you don't normally see. And the second one is, I think maybe October-ish of last year, where, people had started to venture back out, but, just to change, just documenting what things look like. The writing on the door saying that face masks were required, and just seeing the people there, and it was a rainy day. It was just a lot of stuff piling up. So this shot it's a little busier than what I normally do, but because there's a lot going on in the photo. And but I actually kind of like that one. And then the last one, I had gone on top of one of the buildings, the rooftop restaurants in Nashville, to take a few shots. And coming back down, I saw all the lights and the shadows, and I was like, I need somebody to walk through there so I can get a quick shot. So that was just me recognizing light, and just me taking pictures of just what I see.
So somebody cooperated and came along?
I'm sorry, what was that?
So somebody cooperated and came along? Or
Oh,
did
yeah.
You get somebody? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I told him to do that.
Very
I
nice.
didn't tell him why. I was like, just go ahead.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
That's great to notice a potential image that way. That's good.
Yeah, and to have the and discipline to actually wait for it. Yeah.
Did you take any without the person in the image, in the photograph?
I can't remember. I want to say I did. I took maybe 2 shots.
Yeah.
Actually, that day I was shooting a roll of film. I was testing out a camera that I had. Emily, I had bought an old vintage Nikon lens that came on a camera that I threw to the side a couple of years ago.
Cool, yeah.
And then last year I decided, okay, I'm going to try film. And I thought about the camera. I was like, I wonder if that works. So I loaded up with a roll of film and took off downtown to shoot a roll real quick. So that's why I was out that day. I was shooting film, but I had to take one digital.
Oh, film. Love it.
I wasn't sure if I could get what exactly I wanted out of film, since I'm kind of new to that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did it.
You did well.
Thank you.
That is that's a whole nother topic. We're getting all kinds of topics here, Carl. All right. And now, Leslie Gill, tell us about these photos.
Okay, so I'm not sure these are the best photos that I took in 2020, but I think in many ways they're the ones that I most remembered when Emily asked us to send in 3 photos, because I think because of what happened in Washington on January 6th. I was watching the riot on CNN and texting at the same time with a colleague of mine in Toronto. And we were saying, where are the cops and why aren't they arresting people? And this is outrageous. And it made me think back to these overwhelmingly peaceful protests in Nashville, as well as elsewhere in the country, where the police response was so different. So for me, it was the juxtaposition of those events that really made me think about these photos.
Thank you. Good series.
Absolutely.
And so this was, is that the same period of time that David Paneros, I don't know how you pronounce your last name, David, I'm sorry.
Well, these were, I think these were the July protests, but one of them might have also been in May. No, I think these were all from the July protests, but they were earlier ones as well. And they were all overwhelmingly peaceful. Most everyone wore masks, unlike in Washington. And the police response was just so starkly different that that's what really made me. That's what gave these photos kind of a new importance for me.
Right.
So this wasn't the ones when they burned the courthouse?
No,
Ah,
this was that was one of the first. That was the first one, and I would say it wasn't representative of the protests either. Most all of the protesters were peaceful. That was, that happened, but to characterize the protests in Nashville as what happened at the courthouse, I think would be a misrepresentation. They were just overwhelmingly peaceful, but yet faced with this kind of a police response.
Now, did the police say anything to you at all, or did they just let you be?
They glared at me, but I think unlike some of the photographers who were there, I'm a late middle-aged white lady, and so that helps a lot. That's
a little privilege there.
Yeah,
these are great questions about how we're approaching things going on in our city. Look, here's another approach. We're going to move on. Thank you, Leslie. To Liz Ross. Elizabeth, tell us about your photos here.
Well, with COVID happening, we stopped going to the gym. So every morning we now go out for a walk in our neighborhood. So there's a lot of nature in our neighborhood that I never really noticed before. The first picture is a morning after it had rained, and these are water drops on a spider web on a bush. I did not include the picture here that actually had the spider in it, which was really creepy, but just the fact that this really creepy creature could make such beautiful, a structure that looks so beautiful with the gemstones of the water just really struck me. And it kind of turned out to be somewhat abstract too. The middle one, that's pokeweed, and I'm also a painter and collage artist, and I squished a berry and just loved the color, so I kind of smeared the color on a watercolor paper, and then I took that picture. I liked the shadows, of the berries, and the color is just stunning to me. The third one, my sister had sent us a bouquet of tulips. I guess forced tulips. So they grew up, we watched them from little green buds to full grown tulips to finally this stage where they were drooping over onto the table. So this is a wilted tulip. And, usually I take pictures of flowers when they're in full bloom and just beautiful, but this just captured my attention, the wiltedness of it. And it was beautiful too, even though it was almost dead. So
it is beautiful, and the graphic art nature of this, of all three. And I have to comment, you all speak up too. This reminds me, a few series ago, Emily Helms having that pop of the color with the two black and whites. I mean, these are so interesting. How Adobe's having these come out for us in the orders that they are.
I like the nature of the berries. That was a really good concept.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
the
they're all
tulips.
very-
I think that's very dramatic.
The pokeberries, I really do like those.
And that pattern, the cobweb. Wow.
Yeah, the patterns are just outstanding. The cobweb.
How this all of this goes together too, as a nice series.
thank you.
Well, thank you. Mary Rice, are you here? We don't think so. Mary sent in one. And I would love to hear what she has to say about it. But when she sent it in, it seems like she said that it is a road near where she lives, when she was out walking. Can you all see that?
Mhm. I like that.
Yeah,
I do too.
she only needed to send one.
Yeah, I'll tell her. Put that in the notes.
That's very
Mary only sent one, and that was plenty. All right. And now Melanie Davis, new member. Thank you for sending in photos.
Yeah,
Are
of
you here
course.
with us?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
good.
here.
Tell us about these,
Um,
Melanie.
Well, in November of 2019, my husband and I moved to a new house, and we live kind of, I don't want to say we live on top of a hill, but we get a very, very beautiful sunset view. And my pandemic experience was very different from other people's because right before it, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I had to go through surgeries while we were all in major panic lockdown. I'm okay, everything's cool, but I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything for months. And I'm a gardener, and it was really hard for me to not have a garden while everybody was maxing out their garden space. And I'd just moved to this amazing space, and so all I could do was walk around and photograph. And I couldn't go too many places. I was very concerned about my health and delaying any kind of surgery. So I really just stayed home for months and months. But the left photograph, so this is all pictures of our backyard. The left photograph is of the derecho, and I don't remember the exact date that came through, but that was that large weather thing that brought through 70-mile-per-hour winds, I want to say in mid-spring. The middle picture was the sunset on Halloween. And Halloween is normally kind of a hullabaloo in our household. My husband has a hard rock zombie band, and he always has a show. And of course, this year it was very, very different. So it was a quiet year. We didn't have any trick-or-treaters. It was just staying at home, and he was working, and I was just kind of by myself. And I looked out the window and I saw this, and I love those moments when you just see something and you grab your camera and you run because you know you have seconds, if that, to catch what you want. So I just loved how the sunset was so blood red coming through the silhouettes of the trees. And then the last picture was, I think I was photographed in between the first two. And I just loved the light. I loved the crescent of the moon. I love the fact that it was clear enough that you could still see the entire moon. So yeah, it was just basically me wandering around my backyard.
Wonderful.
Recovering and feeling better and enjoying nature.
Wow.
Great.
Glad you're
Welcome
good.
to the group.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome. And thank you for sending in photos. This is great. And what a nice series.
Thank you very much. It was an unanticipated thing, but it really gave me a lot of solace when I was unable to do so many other things.
We look forward to seeing more of your work.
Thank you.
Michael Rogers, are you here?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
No.
Tell us about yours.
Well, first let me say that I'm actually a film photographer. I had a career from 1970 to about 2000, and I retired. Most of my work now is I'm gone back to all my old film work and trying to digitize it and dig out the best stuff. And I've got a lot of film to mine. I know there's a lot of stuff there that I'd like to dig out. So I'm working on that mostly. I have an Instagram page that's all lowercase letters, John, period, Michael, period, Rogers. I'd like for you to check that out if you have a chance. Now I'm iPhone only. So, but I've been photographing this guy for a few years. He's a missionary, Lutheran, Christian artist, lives way down in the country, and he comes to America and raises money, and then he goes to the Dominican Republic, the border of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and tries to take care of folks down there. and then he'll come back and try to raise money and go back. But while he's here, he usually builds a guitar, and I wanted to kind of show his lifestyle. I'm a people photographer. I just think people are the most interesting thing. So most of my photography is people, and I kind of wanted to show a little bit of the monastic kind of lifestyle that this guy leads. The first one, just the building guitar and the Christian artist part, and then the clothesline, the way he, lives and washes his clothes. And I thought that said something about the kind of lifestyle that he was leading. And then the last one, I like the reflection in the door, and he's so pleasant. He's a pleasant guy. So anyway, those are the three that I picked out that all one guy, missionary, Lutheran, Christian artist guy, and and I wanted you to know I photograph mostly people, and I wanted you to know that now I'm iPhone only. Okay.
Shots are done
This
on
iPhone,
What?
Mike, were these taken by the iPhone?
Yeah, these are all iPhone.
Cool.
Wow.
Look really good for iPhone.
Yeah.
It's
Good stuff.
amazing. iPhone's amazing.
Yeah.
True.
Well, thank you. I am going to zip along here. Michael Ross, are you iPhone? You're on these too? Are you iPhone?
Yeah, these are all,
Yeah.
yeah, these are all iPhone. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, we're getting I'm sorry, we're getting a. Wait, we're getting
Some feedback.
Yeah, these are iPhone.
These are iPhone.
I finally got an actual camera. And these are the first two were taken.
These are the first two were taken.
I'm
Just-
sorry, I'm getting feedback.
Everyone put your phone on mute.
Everyone
put your phone
Wait,
on
I-
mute.
If everybody
Turn it off
mutes,
while I'm talking.
if
Turn it
everybody mutes,
back on. Anyway, like a lot of songwriters I know, my favorite pictures turn out to be the latest ones I've taken. And these were, the first two were taken from the car with Liz driving. Because that's the way we can do it these days. And they are both iPhone. First one was a church right on Nolensville Road, and sort of struck me as the earth and the sky being kind of church-like somehow. The second one is black trees that I like to take this time of year, but this one had some of an evergreen in it. And the third one is from Fort Negley, which we just discovered this year, which is a great walk and has great views of the city. This didn't have the city view, but this is with some steps that seem really interesting. And I also want to thank the group for introducing me to Snapseed, because it's thanks to the show we did on, or the meeting we did on apps. I learned about that, and it's been amazing in terms of what it can do for photos and post. Oops.
I love the one with the steps.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Steps. Yeah, that's my favorite.
is it the church? Not far from Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just cut down all those trees.
Everybody. I don't know why. Yeah, that's that's the church pretty much across from Walmart. Yeah, I don't remember. I guess there were trees there.
Yeah, they cut this down.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I used Snapseed to take some of the stumps out that were down towards the bottom.
Yeah, I remember there were trees there before, but haven't been down there in a while. Nice image though.
Thank you.
Where do go to? Emily, are you still on mute?
Her answer was yes.
Her answer was yes.
Well, those are my photos. This is Rick Borchard.
Okay.
I belong to two groups, and we challenge each other either weekly or monthly to take photographs. So I've been taking a number of different photographs, and I decided to limit to my photographs to images that I took without leaving home. So I want to start with the middle one because that is the most interesting and the one that I like the best. The challenge was to take a single piece of paper. You could fold it, but you could not cut it or tear it, and you had to come up with an interesting image. So the center one is my image from a single piece of folded paper. The first image there, the red image, the challenge was to take a picture of your car. So this is the tail light of my Honda CRV.
I thought it was a piece
And the final image actually was a bit of a surprise for me. I was taking another image and I just happened to look over there and I said, well, that looks kind of interesting. And it turned out to be an image that I really like. I like the symmetry, the lighting of it. So you can take good photos without leaving home.
Thank you. Anybody got anything they want to say?
What about the middle shot, the paper? What'd you do? Do you shine light behind it, to it? What gave the look that way?
I took a loom cube and I was shining the light through the folded paper to produce the light coming through, and then had to play with it a bit in processing to get the light the way I wanted it and to make it black and white.
Looks nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, thank you, Rick. Wow, such creativity. Now, Robin, I believe you're online.
I am.
Unmute and
Yep.
yeah, tell
Unmuted
us
and
about
everything.
these. Good.
So two of these, the two on the right, I've shot one first month of the year before we ever even went into quarantine. I think that was February of last year, the Red Barn. And I really was interested in the flakes of snow for about 10 minutes, looked like they were an inch big. So it kind of made this look like I shot on a high shutter speed and it made it look like a little pointillist kind of image. The rest of the year, I shoot photojournalism too for my job. We weren't allowed, it's not a newspaper, it's a magazine. We weren't really allowed to get out a whole lot to photograph people for our stories. So I found myself just looking for quiet scenes and kind of contemplative scenes. The one on the left is at Radnor Lake, and that was when spring had just started to come out. Obviously, it's dwarf larkspur and a sunrise, and that was pretty much end of March, 1st of April, right before sort of lockdowns really got tough and in place and everything. But I always find peace out at Radnor Lake, and just kind of headed out there about the last week of March, I think, is when that was shot. The one in the center, I just got about 2 months ago. Well, I guess at the end of December. That's a place I've driven by 1,000 times. This year, I've kind of tried to make myself take more time and see it and stop when I see images that I'm probably not going to see again. We've been in a lot of heartache and controversy and everything all year, and so I try to find myself navigating toward or being pulled toward quiet pastoral kinds of scenes. I like color, and I like sunrise. I like births and re-beginnings, new beginnings. So these were my favorite 3 shots from this year.
Wow. That is so helpful. Honestly, that's so very helpful. I will move on to Susan. Of your 13, this is the 3.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about these.
The first one, I'm into, you hear lots of people talking about pre-visualization and your scenes and all that sort of thing. Well, I'm into post-visualization. It's also known as play or experimentation, perhaps. And so I had a new app on my phone, and I was playing with one of my shots, and this this was a part of that playing, and it was like, wow, I really like that. And I've also been pushing myself this year to ask myself why I like my images and what they represent, or what they call forth in me as a way of kind of studying myself. And this one is named Calm. That was what it. It's interesting that we've had several folks that have said they were dealing with calm. I just love color, and so I was doing this series on the dining room table of using different pieces of glass, different kinds of glass, different patterns in the glass, and kind of putting stuff under them as a way of looking at how does glass, looking through glass, change things. I'd done it with for years with a glass of water sitting on the table at home or in the restaurant, but these were other kinds of pieces of glass, and then putting something under them. The middle one doesn't have a name. It's hard to see, but what I really loved about it was all the different colors that kind of popped up in the midst of the gold. And the last one, I finally decided it was called Points of Color or something like that.
Festive Angles.
Thank you. Festive Angles. Since I had to come up with it. Did I give you a name for the middle one?
You did. Colors of Life Emerge.
Yeah, I did. I mean, that was because I had to come up with one, but that's, yeah. Thank you, Emily.
So these were, I felt like I cut you off. You were about to say something else about that third one.
Nope. Just
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. I just really, love color, and it's like, wow. So anytime I can come up with color, then that's part of what I like. Obviously not the only thing, but I'm much more into color, colorful images than I am to not colorful images, shall we say.
They're really creative.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan. Sandy.
I'm here.
Yeah, okay, good. Tell us about these, Sandy.
Well, as a counterpoint to Susan, I love black and white. And I didn't go out and shoot much last year. When I did, usually I was shooting flowers. I gifted myself with a membership to Cheekwood and went several times over the spring and summer and the fall. And that's kind of what I was doing last year. I'll probably continue on with some black and white work this year. Not real sure yet, but it's one of the things on my list of things to do.
And the square format.
Oh, yeah. I had talked to Emily about this. I had decided I had been studying Michael Kenna's photography. I've been doing a lot of studying of photographers and different things while we've been at home. And
I really loved his square format. So one of my goals this year was to go out with my camera set in the square format and shoot square for a while. So I've been out a couple of times so far this year, and I've been really enjoying it.
Boy, I love the way you had a goal and off you go, black and white and square.
The
And
processing's fabulous.
Thank you.
I
Thank
also
you.
love the idea of justifying a Cheekwood membership.
I know.
But
Well, you know,
that's good. Yes.
you couldn't really go anywhere, and I knew that if I had a membership that I would make use of it. And it was really, like everyone else said, it was really calming to just walk around gardens, and so that I made very good use of it.
Well, thank you, Sandy. I appreciate your sending these in. And Sai,
Yeah,
are you still with us?
yeah.
Okay, tell us about it. Tell us.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been to the meeting, but yeah, I'm glad to see you all. The first photograph I took before the pandemic. So uh, she's a ballet dancer. So we had a project like, you know, a shoot of a Black Swan. I've seen the Black Swan movie and kind of inspired by the look. And I also asked her to get some more costumes, to get some more pictures. So she got this red dress. So I played around with this picture after we got out of the studio and went home. So I had several iterations of this picture with different backdrops. I like the dynamism of the red, like with the clouds. I shoot so many skies when I see like sunsets or sunrises. So I use them in my composites. So I had like several versions of this one, so I kind of ended up in this version, and I like the painterly look, and it looks so dynamic to me. And the second picture, I shot it like during the pandemic. There was a first meet. Uh, you know, uh, went to a place called Copper Canyon Ranch in Kentucky. They have some live cowboy shoot events. So they reenact some acts for like half an hour or like 15-20 minute stories. So I got this picture portrait of kid. So I like shooting children. So I like the innocence of the kid, like sitting on the corner of the bench. So I approached this kid and I took this picture. And the third one is like me breaking free after like several days of lockdown inside the apartment. Wanted to get outside, get some pictures. So this was during the peak of the fall during the September. So I took the path of the Blue Ridge Mountains. So I took like a vacation for 3 or 4 days, and then I went through the Max Patch Mountains, did some hikes, and really got some good pictures. And this is like the tunnel. I seen so many tunnels during the Blue Ridge Parkway. If you go through the drive, I enjoyed the drive so much. And this is pretty early morning. I checked out of the hotel like around 4:30 to get the morning sunrise. But in the shot that has all the mist in it. So I like the shades and how it had the tonality. It's like you know the light at the end of a tunnel kind of a picture. So I like this one.
Very good. Yes.
And
we're ready for that light.
Right. And I did whatever I can do before I can visit my brother, because I'm not allowed to go outside when I'm with him. So I did most of the shooting when I'm in Nashville, getting outside. So I'm also got busy with some other video projects. So I'm like little more into cinematography as well. So I've been a little more busy with those projects as well. So here at my brother's place, I was planning to shoot the Orion Nebula, because I was thinking what I can do if I'm locked down in my brother's house. So I thought, going to the backyard and, exploring some astrophotography. So I came to know like M42 is the nearest nebula that we can shoot. You just pick the nebula, like the brightest star, or, the direction where in the sky, and then take some darks and lights and then process it. And you could, process the nebula by yourself, like just from your backyard. So that sounded a little amazing to me. So my next project's gonna be like shooting some astro pictures in my backyard.
Cool, cool. This is so great. All right, thank you, Sai. Let's see. Stacy, oh good. Are you still with us?
I'm still here.
All
And
right,
so-
tell us about.
All right. Okay, I'll start with the middle one because that was earliest in the year. That was the last time I was able to travel outside of Nashville. I went up in early February for my mother's birthday to Long Island, where I grew up. And so the shot on the dock is from Northport Harbor, which is an absolutely beautiful place. To Pat's question about, do I ever get comments? Actually, that seagull was very nasty to me. So, it was, it was really giving me a lot of lip about taking its picture. But all three of these were taken with my Sony A7R III, different lenses. That lens on the seagull is a Zeiss 25 millimeter. And I don't retouch my photos. So that's exactly as I saw it in the lens. I set the camera to rich tone mono, which gives you a tremendous depth of field. When I was looking back and trying to choose, that gave me a sense of peace because it's just such a beautiful spot. The next photo chronologically is the tornado, the one on the far left. That's at, I think, Russell Street and 11th and South 11th. I own a rental property 2 blocks south of there. And when I was hearing about the tornado that night, I started texting tenants of mine to take cover. And the next morning, I had heard that there was tremendous damage a little 2 blocks away from my building, but that trees had come down on my property and the power was out. So I drove up there to check on my tenants. And almost as a last thought, I grabbed my camera bag and drove up there. And that's with a Sony FE 24 to 240 millimeter zoom. So I was able to wander around and get different pictures. And I was just, I'd been through earthquakes in LA and I'd seen destruction. I'd never seen destruction from a tornado. So it was alarming and people were wandering around like zombies, but also it was incredibly beautiful because there were already people out there pitching in and helping out, digging places out. But that shot in particular struck me because of the look on the guy's face, framed by the down telephone pole. The third shot in the summer, I spent, after lockdown occurred, I started taking pictures of flowers. I started taking pictures of my dog, taking pictures of my yard, all this stuff. And then I decided, you know what, I need to get out on the street again because that's what I do in photography. And so I started wandering around downtown Nashville, but I made a choice to not go to Broadway and not go to the protests, but to wander through the streets that I call the in-between land and to see how people were living during those times. And that woman was on a bench at, I believe that's Union Street, somewhere around 5th or 6th. And just the bench itself that says Wanda doesn't miss a stop. And she's there camped out. There was just such tremendous sense of isolation and loneliness downtown in those areas. So I felt that that was something that needed to be chronicled. And again, that shot was with my Sony, my Zeiss 85 millimeter. So, but just as a little process, I shoot in black and white, and then I don't retouch anything. I just want it to be as I saw it.
Perfect. Thank you, Stacy. And what did you tell us the lens on this last one?
Yeah, the lens was an 85 millimeter Zeiss, which has turned out to be just about my favorite lens. I used it extensively in London when I was traveling there, and there's something about the tone that lens gets that just enthralls me. But it's and just so you all know, I'm also sitting at my piano right now. So,
oh, you could have played music for our slideshow. Oh my God, Stacy!
I
should have called on you for
for
that.
years. So,
Next time. Yeah,
next time I'll provide the
soundtrack
musical commentary.
Well, thank you, Stacy.
Sure.
Sue Henry, you picked yours out early. You were the first one to send some in. Tell us about these.
That's unusual. I'm usually not first. These images are not considered to be a series at all, but they are to represent my efforts at trying to keep creating throughout the year. And it was a challenging year to keep creating, for me at least. The first one on the left-hand side was for an assignment for a small group, and the topic was color harmony. And I made this image at Hobby Lobby in the craft paper section and with my iPhone, and explored and created and played with it and came up with that particular image. And it has been one of my personal favorites throughout the year. The one in the center is a result of a family friend named Cole Thompson, who lives in Colorado, who did a series called Trees from the Train. And I had always admired his series. And I wanted to see if I could do a similar concept. It's probably the most challenging image I've ever made in my life. There's a dance between shutter speed. You're in the car. I call mine passenger seat because I'm in the passenger seat. My husband was driving. A dance between your shutter speed, your subject, and the speed of the car. And I selected this one because of the challenges it presented to me. The third one, and the one on the right-hand side, was made at a 4th of July fireworks stand. I live off of Nolensville Road, and there are several fireworks stands, and they're fun to go visit. When I walked into this particular fireworks stand, there was a cute young couple that were owners of the stand, trying to keep it going. And we got to talking, and it turned out that the young man was a graphic arts major at MTSU. And I said, oh, then you understand that I like to photograph lines and shapes and colors. And he said, oh, yes. And we conversed a little bit more, and he said, I had a photography class at MTSU. And I said, oh, tell me about it. And I said, who was your teacher? And he said, well, he was just practically a rock star. And I said, oh, Chucky Arlen. And don't many of you right here in this group know Chucky Arlen? And doesn't that description fit him? But anyway, we had the most fun. I ended up showing him several iPhone apps, and we conversed about photography and whatever. And I think that this particular image speaks to me of what I was feeling while I was at the fireworks stand. And it also relates to my conversation and my experience that I had that day. Those of you who know me know that I primarily do nature and calm and quiet things, and I don't like to talk to subjects. And so having that conversation was kind of unique for me. So that's the 3 that I chose to submit.
Fascinating.
Love the center one, Sue.
Thank you. Thank you.
They're all just wonderful, Sue. All right, we just have a couple more people left, so I'm going to zip along here and let's hear from Susan Harrell. Are you still with us? Is Susan still here? I'm sorry, it sounds like, oh, I don't know how to check on her. Well, let's enjoy Susan's pictures. Look at this 3.
Perhaps you have
Beautiful.
her muted.
Oh, do you think I have to do something? Let's see. I'm not seeing her little square. So I'm afraid she had to leave. And these are just fine photos. I know this 3rd one, I just have to speak up and say, y'all know where that is? That's Tennessee Tower, or the Snodgrass, whatever they call it now, that building down from the Capitol. I walked by there 1 million times. That was the building I worked in, and I never saw that gorgeous shot. Good for her. Now, Tamara, tell us about your photos here. Are you still with us?
I am. I'm here.
Okay,
Can you hear
good.
me?
Yes.
I've always loved birds, but I've never photographed them until this year. So I did. I got a lot of birds, and I think this was my favorite bird. This is a great white egret displaying his mating plumage. The second image is a spring down in middle or central Florida, where the manatees come when it's super cold, and this day was cold, and there were close to 500 manatees in the spring. I was a little disappointed when I got home and saw all the ripples on the water, because the spring is crystal clear. And but I decided to go with that and increase the texture, and sort of came up with an almost abstract image that still shows at least what I saw of the manatees. The third one, I'm not sure if it's the first 2 I've lived with all year. They've hung on my bulletin board and they never came down. I print images that I think are good and put them on a bulletin board. And when I decide I don't like them, I pull them off. Those 2 stay there all year. This last one I included because it was inspired from Steve Koppel's presentation. And I don't know if it'll still be on my bulletin board in a few more months, but at the moment I like it. It was taken more towards the end of the year. The first 2 were taken early.
If you send it to me, it'll be on mine all year.
Right.
Thank you.
That's a great idea. That is a great idea. Pass the photos around. And you did not use the word calm, but these are calm and joyful.
I'm always looking for calm and joyful in my images. So yeah.
Thank you. And down in our alphabet, is Wayne still with us?
I'm here.
All right.
The first picture on the left there, that's from Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary over in Petros. I did not realize that they have, first of all, closed the place, and it's now a tourist attraction. You can pay money and go on a tour. So That's what that's from. I like the colors. I like the colors. That hallway is extremely dark. I was using a tripod when I shot that, but I like the way the colors came out with that. And then the middle photograph was shot on some highway. I don't remember which one. I was on my way to the Henry Horton State Park, and I saw this bricko block building on the side of the road, and I pulled over and shot that. I had no idea who Paul Shires was, but I posted this photograph on Instagram, and somebody saw it, said, yeah, I know Paul Shires. They said apparently he made custom furniture. So that's what this place was. And then the final photograph was shot out at Radnor. I've seemed to be shooting a lot of mushrooms recently. So this was shot in probably in the early fall. So that's what that is.
Wow. Thank you. Gosh, you know, I'm going to see if we can see all of these a little bit like so. What a chronicling of the year. Look at this. And we have themes, we have unrest, we have tornadoes, we have people actually looking for calm and so forth. We've seen some isolation and loneliness, and yet a return to nature I'm hearing people talk about. So what an amazing set of photos from you guys. And in conclusion, before I turn this back over to Carl, everybody has given us permission to post all of these on Instagram except one side. This one should not be posted on Instagram, and you'll see that in the Dropbox that you'll be pulling from.
Yeah.
But
sure.
all of these will be. But did I?
Yeah.
But all of these will be posted on Instagram, and heck, Tamara, maybe we can put them on our website too somehow. Just as an
I could make a gallery.
That'd be fun. This
Or
is just
send me access.
It's in the Dropbox. I'll send you the sharing for it. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't.
Also, if everyone get a chance, just follow Snap Nashville and keep commenting on the pictures as we post, and keep that interaction so we get more organic commentary on the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point, Si. So do anybody else have any closing thoughts? Having seen this, don't forget to unmute if you do.
It really lived up to my expectations. I was excited about seeing what people were gonna to bring, and it's really been fun. So thank you all.
Yes.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, beautiful work.
And
Great job.
A gamut, a very strong gamut. Very exciting.
Emily, thank you for taking all this in and putting it together for us. We really appreciate it.
Well, I think I'm the one that benefits over here. I appreciate getting to see it. So Carl, that's it for the program. Do you know what we're doing next month? Or you're muted. You need to unmute.
Carl.
Oh, we lost
Emily,
Carl.
you're such a natural of this.
Oh, yeah.
I got really big shoes to fill here.
We'd like to thank you for all the work you've done as president for the last couple of years.
Oh, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Agreed. Thanks, Emily.